DK Metcalf had mixing up with someone in the stands.
Oh my gosh.
And that not going to have great consequences for the Steelers and Metcalf. DK Metcalf.
Yeah, it sure didn't. Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf suspended 2 games without pay for that. The CBS broadcast caught him walking up to a man, grabbing him by the shirt, and then swiping up.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the video. This is Justin Paul. As a sports fan and as a player, as a person who plays sports, I understand that everything kind of gets heightened in the intense moment of playing that sport. Your adrenaline gets to rushing, and especially against who's supposed to be your rival. And we're not saying that Detroit and the Steelers are rivals, but I'm just saying, like, in the moment y'all are playing against each other, y'all are opposing sides. So, when you're going up against your opponent, things get heated for sure. But this type of thing, it can't happen. Malice in the palace, I'm not saying this is anywhere near that, but, you as a professional player who makes millions of dollars playing this sport, you can't let what anyone says in the stands affect you to the point to where you're taking a swing and connecting, at a fan. And I know, fans are gonna say egregious things, because, they got, you got fans that sent us betting, and, of course he's a Detroit fan. He's gonna say whatever to you because you're the opposing team. And you can never just let it get to you to the point to where you're doing this type of thing, because at the end of the day, as the player, you're never going to win. So DK Metcalf suspended 2 games, which is going to end his regular season, because it looks like I think they only have 2 games left, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to end this regular season. That should have never happened. Even if you have a long history with this fan, if you know this fan or something like that, if you had interactions with this fan before, it should never get to this point. You should never even get that close to this fan, because one, you have everything to lose. They're not in a situation to have anything to lose except for the money that they spent on the tickets to sit in those seats. That once that event is over with, their money is already spent. But you have an image to uphold. You have people who, like kids or young adults, who look up to you. You have people within your organization who are dependent on you to be there and to show up, because that's what they're paying you for. And you have your teammates who are also dependent on you to be there and to show up, so that y'all can work together to win a football game. I hate to be long-winded about this whole thing, man, but as a player, you should never put yourself in this position, because at the end of the day, you're not going to win no matter what, no matter who's at fault. You're getting paid the big bucks to be the entertainment, not to go and be beating up on and punching up on a fan in the stands, someone who's never gonna be in your position to put those shoulder pads on, to wear those jerseys, to represent a whole fan base of people. Only thing they can do is sit back and watch you try to be great. But this is the type of stuff that puts a damper on what your greatness is. And people say, man, I have so many accomplishments. How can one thing? It only takes one incident to change the trajectory of where your career goes. And that's just the truth as far as professional sports. Because again, you guys make millions of dollars to put on sports entertainment. And if you wanted to be a boxer, then you should be getting in the ring, and then you would be in the ring against other professional boxers, who are not fans.
The suspension sidelines Metcalf. The suspension sidelines Metcalf for the last 2 games of the regular season. Now that fan has lawyered up, and he says the reports about his client are just flat out wrong, and it's led to the fan being scared for his safety. That fan's lawyer speaking exclusively to Fox 2 tonight.
Was assaulted on national television.
There it is.
DK Metcalf had mixing it up with someone in the stands.
Lions fan and season ticket holder Ryan Kennedy in the blue wig gets Pittsburgh's wide receiver DK Metcalf over by holding up a Steelers jersey. Words were exchanged, then this. Kennedy's attorney, Sean Head, says these are the words that were not used in that exchange.
It's been widely reported, falsely, that he made some racial slurs or used some misogynistic slurs. Specifically, he's been accused of using the N-word and the C-word. That is absolutely not true. You're never going to find a recording of that. You're not going to have an eyewitness that says that. It simply did not happen.
24 hours later, the NFL suspended Metcalf without pay for 2 games. Sources tell ESPN that's a loss of more than $500,000. Meanwhile, the fan getting heat.
He's been receiving threats via voicemail and electronic messages, and he's in fear for his personal safety and that of his family.
Last season, attorney Sean Head says Metcalf, then with the Seattle Seahawks, reported Kennedy for misconduct from the stands at Ford Field. It was investigated by both teams.
Again, there was no misconduct found by Mr. Kennedy last year either.
In terms of next steps, Kennedy's attorneys say they're exploring their options, and DK Metcalf plans to appeal the NFL's decision on his suspension.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see, what becomes of the situation. Not sure if the N word was used or the C word, as they were saying. I'm not sure if that was used, but at the end of the day, you're a big tough man. You gotta have tougher skin, no matter what this guy says. And it's easy to say, harder to do. I understand. Trust me, man. I put myself in people's shoes before I even open my mouth to speak. But if I'm getting paid millions of dollars, $500,000 plus, man, ain't shit you can tell me that's gonna get me to act that way. It's nothing you can say to me that's gonna get me to act that way, because I know I have a family to provide for. I have a lifestyle that I want to uphold and I want to live. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to be putting myself in a situation to where I'm going to lose more money for throwing a punch at someone in the stands, than I'm going to gain by playing these football games. And this is a season ticket holder. They were saying when he played with the Seahawks and came there, there was an issue then. So, this is someone who he has some history with. And at the end of the day, like I just said, this guy is a season ticket holder. He'll never, ever get on that field and do nearly as much as you can do, DK Metcalf. Never. So, at the end of the day, why put yourself into that position in that situation, But, that's just my opinion on this thing. I'm going to go ahead and close out. If you guys like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my video. This is Justin Paul. Peace.